Welcome back, fight fans. We're back and very late because of this bullshit technology. As always, wanted me to update it. I didn't even want to update anything. Literally just turned the computer on and it was already just starting to update. And I'm like, wow, that's great. Uh, and about 20 minutes in, it was about 20% done. So I don't know how it managed to get done that fast after that, but technology is a mystery and we'll just move on. Okay, so we're back. UFC 290. That's what we're going to talk about first. I'll just quickly just breeze through that as fast as I can in the interest of time. And then, of course, we'll just talk about this week's UFC Vegas 77 home, Bueno Silva. We'll get through that in detail. But yeah, we'll just blaze through this UFC 290 card. First, here we go. So that opened with Camuela Kirk, Esteban Ribovics. I think it's Ribovics. That's what they kept saying on the broadcast. I would have said Ribovic probably, but whatever. I mean, he's not he's not Eastern European, so I guess it wouldn't really make sense for Ribovic. So Ribovics we'll go with. I don't know. Anyway, we put some money on him. He was at minus 150 when we put that down. And we balanced that out with under 1.5 because they had some decent finishes on both sides. And that was at plus 105. So it was plus money. It looked like it was okay, but then, not completely surprised by it. Ended up not getting the early finish there. But Ribovics did cash in, so that was 1.67 units back. Lost the unit for, under 1.5. Sucks. But again, that's not that bad. I mean, you're only 0.33 units down, so that's really not that bad. And that's why we do the two bets, because usually it balances out to the point where if I am losing, it's just a little bit. As for the fight itself, I mean, Kirk was close to finishing it early in the first, which I was pretty surprised. I did not think he was going to be dominating him like that early. I was pretty surprised by that, not going to lie. And then Ribovic came alive in the second, almost grabbed a finish too. And then he kind of just did more damage in the final round, so seemed to win it pretty convincingly 2-1. And that's what happened. So that made sense. At least I think. I'm just again going through this pretty quickly. Let's see what happened with the results. Yeah, unanimous decision. Yeah. So that is what happened. Second fight, that was Aguilar and Ross. It said Rose. I thought it said Rose. Shannon Ross, of course. Did not expect it to be done that quick. That was insane. I was trying to think, what happened here again? Oh, yeah. It was the 20-second knockout out of nowhere from Aguilar. His first knockout win. I mean, there's no way I could have really seen the knockout coming. I thought he was pretty good on the feet from what I saw, but to get a knockout like that after Vinicius Salvador couldn't get the knockout that early, and there was another guy too, the guy after that. Oh, yeah. Clayson, he got a quick knockout, I guess, but was not expecting it at all from Aguilar. Like I said, it was his first knockout. I mean, how could I have seen that one coming? Aguilar minus 150, so we did cash in there. That was 1.67, same as Rebovic's. Um, and again, I said over 1.5 this time. If I would have flipped those two, we would have had it. But yeah. And you know what? If I would have actually said under 1.5, which was actually plus money, that we would have cashed in pretty big. But instead, I thought, oh, these guys are pretty durable. Ross is fairly durable. Aguilar, pretty durable, and it seemed like Aguilar was going to win anyway. So just didn't really seem like one of those times where it was like, oh yeah, we'll cash in on the under 1.5. Didn't really see it. Clearly should have done that instead. But yeah, I picked the minus 150 over 1.5. Stupid. Don't know why I did. Well, I guess like I said, they looked like pretty durable guys. Didn't seem like it was in the cards too much. But instead, second fastest KO in flyweight history. Scary KO too. Wrote that one down. Scary. It was scary. It was like, oh shit. That was one of those ones where you see and it's like, oh damn. Yeah, you better check that guy out. That's for sure. And like I said, Aguilar's first KO. Nothing else to say really. So, technically we were minus 0.67. Yeah. Yeah. 0.67 down at that point. It's not really a big deal. I mean, that's within one unit. That means one of those, plus money bets cashes in. There you go. You're back in the green. So yeah, not really a big deal up until that point. And, some fairly unexpected results, we'll say, in terms of the over under parts of it anyway. So, but anyway, the two winners cashed in. That's really truly all that matters anyway. Second or third fight after that, Cameron Simon proves me a genius, of course, going against Mitchell, Terrence Mitchell, I believe his name was. Yeah. Um, I mean, it would just seem like a wild mismatch. Simon was my sniper pick for the week, of course, too. I got him at minus 500. I think he ended up about minus 650. So I did get in there early, which is nice. That's always nice to get a good boost in there early. So yeah, put 5 units down on the minus 500 Cameron Simon. Literally never even a doubt at all. Oh, actually, no, never mind. It was not. It was not that clean. Simon was taken down pretty quickly, which I guess it's not really too surprising. That's what Mitchell does. I was a little surprised that he was getting controlled a little bit, but still did pretty well. Got out of it and then got the KO. Then got the KO that I was talking about that I knew he was going to get. And if you didn't believe me, I put money down on the Simon KO, of course. That was actually a minus 150. So definitely took some what we call a chalky bet there. Minus 150 for Simon KO. Outrageous. But we got it anyway. Could have actually gotten the submission. I was a little bit worried about that. But I knew that Mitchell was primarily a ground guy, which of course we saw, hence the takedown. So I figured, he's got pretty good submission defense. Simon, not really a submission guy, but he can get it done there too. So I figured KO would have made the most sense anyway. So like I said, minus 150, that cashes in at plus one or 1.67, which is of course, all three of the same odds, Rebovic's, Aguilar, Simon, KO, they're all minus 150. So that is still 1.67 units. But this time, unlike the other times, that was, excuse me, um, we put in the first round finish. So regardless of, again, that's basically an over under, but first round, more specific, minus 110. That cashes in, thankfully, at 1.9 units. So if you do the math, 0.67, negative 0.67, I should say, add in 0.91, that would be what, 0.24 up? So I should actually fix my numbers here. That's We'll just say point 0.3 up. Point 0.3 up. So that's what we were at that point. Point 0.3 units up with 3 fights in. Not bad, not bad at all. I mean, is it anything crazy? No, but we're at slightly plus money. That's really all we can ask for at that point. Especially, like I said, those first two results were a little bit more surprising in terms of the over under. Then we had oh, actually, technically, that's right. These fights are somewhat out of order. I'll try and go back and forth between Tapology here to make sure everything's in order here. Then it was Vitor Petrino, Marcin Prachnio. And as we mentioned last time, I mean, Prachnio fairly advanced in the career, has been knocked out multiple times in the first round before. Petrino has multiple first round knockouts and almost got another one in his first UFC fight. So I thought pretty clearly Petrino KO is the way to get those odds down. That was minus 143. And because I thought it was going to be so quick and so one-sided, I went with first round. And of course, this is the one of the only fights on the card that didn't have an early finish. Unreal. I'm really surprised that he did not go a little bit harder. I don't know if there was something going on or what, but it was a little weird. I even wrote that down here. Weird strategy with Petrino grappling. It was very strange. I honestly don't even know why he was doing it because Prachnio, I don't know, he didn't really look great on the feet. And then every time Petrino landed hard, he wasn't going for a finish. He was just then grappling him after. So it was like he'd rock him and then he'd go for the grappling. Actually, I talked about this a couple weeks ago with my buddy there. Yeah, it's weird. I can't stand it when people do that because it's like you almost finished him on the feet. Why are you now giving him a chance to recover along the fence and on the ground? It literally makes no sense. It goes against trying to get a finish. It's just bizarre. I don't know why people do that. And that's what he was doing, and he did that the whole fight. It was just really, really weird in terms of that. So didn't cash in on either one of those. That was a really weird one. I really don't know what else to say other than that was just strange to watch. So could have had the chance to cash in on both of them, but instead Petrino just changes his entire fighting style and we cash in on neither one of those. So that means technically, yeah, we're 1.5 units down, a little bit over 1.5 units down at that point. Ridiculous. What the fuck? Unreal. Then we had, oh yeah, actually, I should say, see, this is where the order switched up because I had Tatsuro Taira next, but they switched the order. So that ended up being Menefield next, which I had, as I said last time, I had Menefield. I mean, he basically won the first fight. The only reason he got I can't even say he lost. The reason it was a draw was because of the point loss. If not for a point loss, he would have won that first fight. Also, had a couple chances to get a finish in that fight too. So I thought the pretty obvious choice was Menefield, and he was a plus 110. He was a plus money there. So we got him in. We cashed in big on that 2.1. That makes up some ground. And because the first one was unanimous. I mean, it wasn't a unanimous. It was a draw. So all 3 rounds. Had to go with the over 2.5, which I thought was pretty insane that it was at plus 200. Did not cash that one in though, because Menefield did get his finish. And to be honest, I mean, Crute never really showed too much. I don't know. And this is what I was saying actually last week. I was like, I honestly, I think he was kind of just because he was in Australia, he was really throwing it out there, really trying his best, doing everything he could. Now it's in Vegas. There's no crowd. Menefield, you know, and he took a beating in that first fight too. So you got to think that plays a part too. never really showed anything. Menifield just looked better, and then ended up getting the submission. Had to check on my notes there what I said, but yeah. So did not cash in the over, but still made money. Did make money finally on that matchup with point 0.1 of profit, of course, because you lose the unit from the other one. 2.1 units total in the matchup. That means plus point 0.1. So we'll just call that down 1.5. Like I said, because it's like 1.7. You got one, we'll just say 1.5 at that point. Of course, there are the real numbers at the end of this. I'm just kind of giving you an update as the card was going on. So it's not like I'm just guesstimating all the other stuff. The other numbers are, in fact, 100% legit there. Then we had the ladies, and this actually was the result that shocked me the most by far. I still can't believe actually that happened. It was Howard Wee and Denise Gomes. um, Insane. Could not believe that. Uh, what was it? Like a 15? Well, actually, yeah, I could check right here. I was just on the page. A 20-second knockout. A 20-second knockout for Denise Gomes after how good Howard Wee has looked, which is what I said last week. She's looked insanely good. Hasn't really shown too many problems here and there, like at all, really. Has shown a great chin, great striking, like insane striking, really. Unbelievable. Cardio, everything. Literally everything she can do. And then out of nowhere, Denise Gomes comes in there, basically just knocks her down right away, got a little bit of ground and pound, and the ref called it off. That was it. I mean, holy shit. I definitely did not see that one coming at all. Literally not even a little bit. Could not believe that. That being said, in terms of the matchup, we actually gained money out of it. But of course, she was on our parlay list, which means that the parlays did take a hit there. She was E on the list there out of A through G. So she wasn't too high up, but considering the odds of them, I did have to put more of them together than I normally did, which did mean that killed most of the parlays right there, which that sucked. That sucked. So in terms of the matchup, though, I had Howard Wee decision plus 115, just in case, because that made sense. I mean, Denise Gomes, I don't think she had been finished either. So it seemed like they were both pretty durable. So I thought that made a lot of sense. And that was at plus 115, like I said. So I thought that was pretty good. But again, she lost. So that did not happen. But I balanced it out with the under 2.5, which maybe I could have even done under 1.5 and gotten better odds. But either way, we cashed in. It was plus 130 for under 2.5. So we actually, like I said, did make money out of that matchup. Of course, if you exclude the if you exclude the parlays, of course. So that was 2.3 units back. That's 0.3 units up, which meant that at that point we were like 1.3 ish units down. So still, still a little bit down, but not really, nothing crazy. That's for sure. Like I said, one good matchup at that point puts you right in the green. I mean, it's really, really close there. But shocking result in terms of the fight, though. Like truly, literally did not see that one coming at all. I will say it was a slightly early stoppage for sure, but did it really affect anything? I don't know. I think she was probably going to just keep doing ground and pound and it was going to get stopped 5-10 seconds later anyway. Still, crazy result for Denise Gomes there. Then after that, it was Tatsuro Taira. And that one, of course, he was a huge favorite. What was it, like minus 1,000, I think, or something? So had to lower those odds. Picked him. Taira in 1. That's what I had. And then balanced it out with a Taira KO. Man, we were so close. We were so close. Dominance from Taira. I mean, it really was never in question that he was going to lose. I mean, that he was going to win this fight. Never too close to a finish, though. But Almost did actually. Oh, that's right. He did almost lose it at the end of the fight there, but ended up getting the yeah, was that right? Really? Oh yeah, it was a unanimous decision. How about that? Need to trust my notes. So yeah, just whiffed that all around. So that was a rough one. That was a rough one. I don't know. Could have had, I guess, balance out the Tyra in the first round to try and do over 2.5. Maybe that could have, maybe that was the better call. Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm actually a little surprised that I did that. Normally, I don't do that. Like, normally, I balance it out by doing, like, I could have done Tyra in one and then an over under just in case, or I could have done Tyra KO and then done an over under. Instead, I did both at the same time. That's not great. So that was a rough matchup. But he did get the win. So that means that our B choice there in the parlays did cash in. And of course, A was Simon, so he cashed in. Petrino was D, so he cashed in. So already that is 3 out of 4 so far up until that point cashed in. But of course, that Howard one at E did kind of kill us in the in most of the parlays there. But still, a couple of them were alive at that point. So that was that one. And then we move on to the featured prelim, Robbie Lawler. And this is where the entire card turned around for us. I mean, it was truly unbelievable to watch at this point for us. I mean, it almost everything cashed in after this. So we definitely caught up at this point and definitely went way into the green at this point. Had Robbie Lawler, of course, and I said this last time, it's his retirement fight. He's gonna come in and really try and win this no matter what. That's just who he is as a person. Not all of these people on their way out are like that. Robbie Lawler, I figured, was going to be one of those guys that was like that, especially since he had an opponent that made sense. It's not some guy that's going to come in there who is on his way up, just steamrolling these guys, because that's what we keep seeing over and over. No, it was not one of those. It was a fairly even match on paper. So I had to go with Robbie Lawler. And thankfully, I was completely right about that. Did not expect a crazy early finish like that, but he did, in fact, get the win pretty easily, obviously. That was plus 175 he was at. So that is a 2.7 unit return, 2.75 unit return. So that's 0.75 on top of it because I balanced it out with an over, thinking he was probably going to get a decision win. That's how I thought he was going to get the win. So obviously the over did not cash in because that was another sub 1 minute finish. The four on the night, I believe it was, that were under 1 minute. This was one of those. But yeah, still made money on the matchup itself, which was 0.75 units of profit. So still, of course, technically, oh, we were definitely down at this point. That's right, because of the -2 units from the Tyro one, and we were basically at about 0.75 down before that. So I mean, we're like almost 3 units down. So I think we were about 2 units down after this one. So still down, but nothing crazy. Well, actually, that isn't great. 2 units down with 4 fights to go. That's not ideal. Or 4 fights to go. Yeah, that's not ideal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5 fights. The whole main card to go. 2 units down. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not a killer. That's for sure. Anyway, but that made me happy. That was great. And it also the package, watching the package of, and then seeing Lawler get emotional like that. I mean, it was incredible. It's That's easily the best retirement I've ever seen. And I hope that they can do that for as many people as possible. I mean, I'm not saying they all need to get sub 1 minute finishes or even get a win, but to see the package after that, see the video after that, I mean, that's what you want to see. That is what you want to see going into these last fights every time for these people, especially somebody like Robbie Lawler. So yeah, I hope we see more of that. That was fantastic. Fantastic the way they did that. Then it was the main card, and my boy, Bo motherfucking Nickel, uh, absolutely killed this matchup. I said this, I think I actually mentioned this last time. If I didn't, I should have. Yeah, he gets submissions, of course. We know that. We know the grappling, but we hadn't really seen, or I actually I did say that. I remember saying that now. I said UFC audiences hadn't really seen his striking, but I have seen his striking because I watched his fight outside of the UFC and he got a knockout. And to be honest, it was pretty impressive. I knew he had good hands. So I said, this is the fight for him to prove that he has striking. That's who he is. He doesn't need to prove that he has grappling or submissions, especially since Woodburn is a grappler. So why then would he try and test the grappling of somebody that has good grappling when you can just go for the hands? I said that and literally played out exactly like I said. He wants to prove his striking. That is exactly what he did. Goes for the knockout right away. Gets the knockout. So I bet on the nickel KO, cleaned up, called it 100% perfectly. That was plus 250. That deserves a round of applause. I mean, plus 250 for a nickel KO, cashed it in, no sweat, never a doubt. Knew he was getting the KO right away. As soon as he ran in that cage, I was like, KO. He got it. Absolutely nailed it. 3.5 units back. That brings us all the way back up to even with just that one bet, because that's 2.5 units of profit just within that one bet. Because I also cashed in first round finish, of course. That was minus 300, by the way. And you can imagine what Bo Nickel by submission was. I believe it was at also like minus 200 or 3 or maybe even 4, something crazy. So yeah, first round minus 300, that is 1.33 units back. So you add in 0.33 on top of 2.5 units, that's 2.8 units, which means we are back into the green with that Bo Nickel performance. And like I said, what did I say? I literally called that to perfection, to absolute perfection with a nickel KO, puts us in the green. Amazing. Which means that's that 4 fights to work with, hopefully getting us into some more green. I was pretty optimistic after that, though. That looked fantastic. Then it was Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner. And I did mention last week that Turner, I mean, he's clearly very good, but I even mentioned how Hooker had been turning his life around. And I thought, this is a pretty live underdog. I think this is a guy that we should be kind of looking at a little bit more. And the thing that sealed it for me and that actually had me really going in actually at Hooker to the point where I changed my pick on verdict was the weight miss. Found out Turner missed weight. He did not look good because I watched the weigh-in show. He did not look good at all. And then of course misses weight by 2 pounds. Hooker, of course, looking amazing. Excited to be there. We know how tough he is. We know he's doing better than he was before. So, seemed like a pretty obvious time to go hard on the underdog, Dan Hooker, and that is exactly what I did. Plus 220. He was at plus 220 going into this, had to put it down. He gets the split decision win. That is 3.2 units back. So, 2.2 units up on that bet alone. And I also put in the over 1.5. I thought that was crazy, actually, that it was at over under 1.5. Minus 120. I thought that was shocking because both of these guys are super durable. Why are we not giving them some credit here, and that's exactly what we saw. It was over. It was a decision. So nailed that as well. Minus 120. So even if I would have lost, even if Hooker would have lost, we still would have been pretty close. We would have still lost zero point 0.2 units, but that wouldn't have been terrible. Instead, though, 1.83 units back on the over 1.5. So that's 0.83 up, and 2.2 units up on the Hooker bet. So that is three whole units back on of pure profit from that matchup. So now we are 3 units in the green with 3 whole fights to go. Unbelievable stuff right there. Yeah. Then we've got DDP and Whitaker. And what did I say? I actually called this one perfectly too. And I'm not going to lie. This one was, I've never been more surprised about being right. I'm usually like, okay, yeah, see, I told you. Like, that's exactly what was going to happen. This one I did tell you, but I'm not going to lie. I was pretty surprised that it actually played out like that. And I didn't write notes on the fight at this point because, to be honest, I was having so much fun and the fights were so good that I just stopped taking notes. So I can't even give you any kind of play by play for these fights. None of these main card fights at all. I was having so much fun, and the fights were so good that I did not even take notes at that point. So my bad about that. Not that anybody cares anyway, but still, yeah. So I can't even give a play by play. I don't even remember. I mean, it was just so insane to watch. DDP, I told you he's bigger than Rob. I mean, we knew that he wanted it more anyway, but that's not even really the point. The point was the size. And that is exactly what we saw. The size and the power. We've seen Whitaker get hit before. You can't let DDP hit you. That's just a fact. If he hits you clean, you are either going to get knocked out right away or you are going to get knocked down and it's going to be a bad time. And that's exactly what we saw. He got hit and he started to wobble and honestly never really truly recovered from there, from what I remember. So, yeah. And I mean, like, Rob was doing really well the first round. The speed was definitely getting to DDP. I remember this now. The speed was getting to him. He was landing pretty well. But like I said, as soon as DDP then kind of landed those big ones and wobbled him, that was it. And Whitaker never really truly recovered from there. That was really it. And that's exactly what I said. You cannot get hit like that. You cannot get hit like that. And I got to be honest, I'm truly might actually be leaning. I really actually probably am leaning towards DDP over Izzy. I got to say, I really got to say that because nobody has done that ever to Whitaker. Not even Izzy did that. You know, people on the guys on the broadcast actually mentioned like, oh, well, Izzy did that to him too. It's like, no, not really. No, he didn't. He did not. He was actually kind of doing okay. You know, it was a close fight, and then he just got knocked out. Yeah, I think didn't he get? I don't think he got knocked out cold, but it was kind of like he was really pressing forward and getting pretty reckless. That's kind of what happened. This is not what happened at all. DDP just said, "Nah, I'm winning this," and just kind of beat him, honestly. And Izzy didn't do that. He just landed a huge one, got the knockout right away. He didn't have to keep following him up for a few minutes, trying to keep going again. At least not from what I remember. Anyway, so yeah, and the grappling, and that is why I think he's going to beat Izzy, because of the grappling. It's not because of the striking, although I do think DDP probably will hit him at some point pretty clean, because Pineda hit him pretty clean too. I mean, like, he gets hit. Izzy gets hit for sure, but it's the grappling. It's that size. He is huge. He is massive and he uses it well. And that cardio is unreal. And what did I tell you about the nose too? Because I have also had breathing problems. So I know if somebody has breathing problems, it becomes almost impossible to do high pace exercise, like intense exercise like this. So the fact that he was doing it like that for a couple years, I knew he had crazy cardio, especially since he wasn't getting tired even with the busted up nose. So now that it was fixed, I knew his cardio was going to be flawless and scary, and that is exactly what happened. So I don't know. I know. I already know. I already know I'm going to be putting money down on DDP against Izzy. Do I think he's going to win? I don't know. I think it's about 50-50 if I'm being honest, but I'm definitely putting money down because I know he's going to be a huge underdog for sure. For sure. He's probably going to be like plus 300 again. He was plus, oh yeah, by the way, again, like plus 280. That's what he was at here. And I still called it. This time, I mean, and this was against Whitaker too. Like now he's going against the champion less than 2 months after his other fight in Australia. Like, I don't know. Like, he's going to be a huge underdog. I would not be surprised if Izzy was -4, -500, somewhere around there. So, yeah, I'm enjoying. Like, this is going to be good. I can't wait to watch this fight. I will say though, did not need the expletives there for sure. That was a little much from Izzy. I'm not going to lie. That was uncomfortable to watch, and he didn't need to do that. Especially since DDP never once even really suggested any kind of thing like that. I don't know. It was just uncomfortable. Don't like that. Don't need to see it. Let's keep it. Let's keep it chill. Let's keep it chill, guys. And DDP is doing a good job of that. He's not escalating things at all. At all. He's just saying, "Hey, like, let's just tone it down. We didn't need that. Did not need that. That was not cool." Anyway, moving on. Then we had Moreno and Pantoja. And what did I say? Again, I mean, I know this was a split decision again, but still, I mean, it was still pretty clear who won. By the way, no crazy decisions on this. I actually agreed with every single thing that happened, except for maybe the Howard finish. I think that was a little bit early. Let's see what else is here. Split decision. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no crazy, nothing weird. Yeah, there really actually wasn't anything weird at all that was happening. I think Hooker pretty clearly won that fight, and I think Pantoja clearly won this one. But yeah, what did I say? I mean, it comes down like people get a little bit lost, I think, in the stories sometimes. Like you got to remember, Pantoja won the first two fights against him. That plays a part, and he's just an insanely good grappler, and he's very dangerous all the time. He's just always dangerous. And that does play a factor. Like you can't ignore stuff like that. So that's why I said at least putting a bet down on Pantoja as the underdog clearly made sense. So that's of course what I did. Plus 162. I thought that was, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I thought it made sense that Moreno was a slight favorite, but I didn't think he was going to be a huge favorite like that. That seemed a little bit weird. The one thing that I was worried about, and I said this last time, was the cardio. I didn't think he was going to win if this was going to be a 5-round fight. So that was actually the only thing that was a little bit more surprising to me. And even as it was playing out, I was like, man, I don't know. Like he didn't get the finish in the first couple rounds. He was close. He was looking really good. Pantoja looked so good the first couple rounds, which is exactly what I said was going to happen. I told you he was going to be good the first 2 rounds, and then it was going to go downhill because of the pace. And that's mostly what happened. I can't really remember. Again, round to round, I didn't write my notes here because I was so into it that I didn't end up writing my notes. But I believe it was like the first round was pretty clearly him from what I remember. And then I remember being like the second and third were kind of up there. He definitely won the fifth. The fourth, I think, was Moreno. I can't really remember, but I know it was close. But it was still a convincing 3 rounds for Pantoja, and Moreno never really seemed like he was winning by any means. He seemed like, okay, well, he kind of got those rounds, but it was never like I never really thought like, oh, okay, like Moreno is clearly going to win this fight now. Like, I never really thought that. I either thought, okay, this is pretty close, or yeah, Pantoja's winning this fight. Those were really the only two thoughts I was having. So, again, never really too much of a doubt there. Well, actually, no, there was a doubt because it was a split decision. So I was a little bit worried. But it was really more so the scorecards that were one scorecard, I should say, that was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, obviously, the one that went for Moreno. I mean, like, could I have seen a 48-47 for Moreno? Yeah. Okay. Like, I would have been like, I would have been like, the fuck? Like, I don't think so. Like, I still would have been a little bit pissed because I still think Pantoja pretty clearly won it. But if it would have been 48-47, I would have been like, okay, like, I don't really agree, but it was close enough that you could probably make that argument. But when somebody gives a 49-46 for Moreno, it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, nah, nah, that is just wrong. That's just wrong. Like, there's no way. You're just wrong. So that was a stupid scorecard, which gets you worried too, for sure, when you hear that, when it said second, because you hear 48-47 Pantoja. Like, okay. I don't like that this is a split decision, and you can hear that it's a split decision, obviously. Don't like that. But 48-47, okay. 49-46 Moreno. Then you go like, oh no. Oh no. Because 48-47, it's like, ooh, I wonder what this could be. But when you hear 49-46, you're like, oh shit, he lost. Because how do you come up with a 48-47 for Pantoja twice and then a 49-46? Like, somebody's insane here. And it was the guy who did 49-46. So that was a weird one. But anyway, worked out. And the bets worked out perfectly as well. Pantoja, that cashes in, of course, 2.62. So already, if nothing else cashes in, that is, well, I did 3 bets, so technically that's not true. I was going to say, if anything loses, we still get money. We did the under 3.5 because I thought, okay, well, if Pantoja does get the win here, it's going to be, actually, I could have even seen, like I said, I could have even seen Moreno getting a knockout. So, and I actually, even while watching the fight, I think both of them had a chance at getting a finish for sure. Well, maybe not Moreno. I don't know. Pantoja was just not giving up ever. So I don't know if anybody was really ever that close to a finish. But anyway, before that, it seemed plausible. Under 3.5, that was plus 150. Did not cash in, obviously. And then I did a most strikes one again. So I've only actually gotten one of these wrong so far in our bets. Moreno, most strikes. That did cash in pretty easily, actually. I think he was up by like 20 or 30. I was a little bit worried when Pantoja kept pushing forward and pushing it, but every round it seemed like, okay, well, Moreno's got slightly ahead on the strikes, and Pantoja's just kind of dominating the grappling and landing heavier strikes. That's kind of what was happening. But yeah, most strikes that cashed in. That was minus 150. So clearly they were thinking, just like I was, Pantoja is going to be grappling, Moreno's going to be striking. So that seemed like an obvious betting line to take. And that cashed in. That's 1.67. So that is 0.67 on top of 0.62, which gives us a profit of 1.2 for that matchup. So another unit of profit thanks to Pantoja on that one. And then we had the main event. Clearly, I didn't blaze through this as fast as I wanted to. I tried to. We went fast at the start, and then yeah. Volk, Yair. I could have put more down probably on Volk, but I decided not to. Still easily made money on the matchup anyway, though. I went Volk decision. That was plus 120. Balance that out with the under 3.5, just like I did with the Moreno Pantoja fight. And that one did cash in. He did get that finish. And of course, I put Volk most strikes as well. So that the most strikes cashes in for us again, minus 188. which made sense. I mean, there was no way Yair was going to get more strikes. That was, even if Yair won this fight, there was no way he was ever going to get more strikes just by the way that he fights. He's a power puncher. He's a finisher like that. Or he could have gotten a submission from the ground. There was no way that he was ever going to outpace Volk on the feet. So that was an obvious bet to make. Cash that in easily. And I'm actually surprised that it was that low, minus 188. I mean, that's a no-brainer. So plus 153. Oh, and then of course the Volk decision did not count. So, and the under 3.5 was plus 120. So that did cash in, of course. So altogether, that is 0.53 units up for the most strikes and 0.2 for the other two when you add those together. So that's 0.7. Another 0.7 on top of what we already have. So as you can imagine, this was by far our best week so far using this system. It's still not my best week using the system personally, because there were a couple weeks that I used it before I started streaming with it, and I had 11 units one of those weeks. So it's technically not my best, but it was the best on the stream. And now I can reveal that the upper half, which was all those bets, that was 8.75 units up. Cleaned up. Just fucking cleaned up on that top half. Of course, that was also partially thanks to Simon getting the sniper pick, which, like I said, that did cash in, of course, which was 6 units, which is 1 unit up because I put 5 units in. So got 1 unit of profit there. So that is 8.75 units of profit on that upper half. The parlays are what killed us, though. The parlays are where we ended up, coming up a little bit short, and then we still won money on the card, though, of course, obviously. I mean, how do you blow 8 units of profit on the upper half? You don't, because I don't even put 8 units down in the lower half, so that would be impossible. So obviously we did get money, but we took a little bit of a hit on the parlays because of Howard. I just truly never thought that was going to happen to Howard. I truly thought she was rock solid and there was no way she was going to lose. So yeah, that was shocking. And then because of the early confidence I had in Jalen Turner, he lost me some of the parlays too. I did have Jalen Turner as G, so he was the lowest in all fairness. He was the lowest on my parlay list. But like I said, I mean, if I had made my parlays earlier in the week, I just wouldn't have put him in because of what I saw from the weight cut and everything like that. I just wouldn't have put it in. Like I said, I got way more confident in Hooker on that Friday. So I had already made my parlays by then. Didn't have a choice. So yeah. So Turner did lose us a couple of those, but wasn't really surprised by that. And like I said, he was the G1 anyway. Which, by the way, actually makes it even worse because if I would have just gone A through F like I usually do, he wouldn't have even been in there. So wouldn't have even lost that one. But whatever. I mean, truly, though, he only lost me 2 parlays. He lost me BCEG. He, of course, was in that one because he was G, and then the all parlay. So the one that has all of them in there. So really, it was only 2 that he lost, and then Howard we lost me 4. So, and it didn't even matter actually that Turner had lost because she was also in all of the ones that he was in. So really, it just mattered that Howard we lost, which lost me 4 of them, which really sucked. That was the BCEG again, of course. She lost me the Grand Slam. That was the ACDE. And then she lost me a 5-way parlay, which was my most confident 5, A, B, C, D, E. And she was the only one that lost on that one. It was the E. If I would have just gone A, B, C, D, would have cashed in. That's not what happened, though. So that sucks. Instead, but that aside, we did still manage to cash in on 2 of them. It's just that the odds were so, the odds were so low that we just didn't get much profit on it. That's all. So the ABC parlay did cash in, and that was, that's the triple play. That did cash in, but it was at minus 263. 263. So I mean, like, we're not getting much profit there. That's 1.38. So, because you put 1 unit down on that. So it's really only 0.38 units of profit on there. So that's really nothing. That doesn't even get you back one of the other parlay bets, because one bet is half a unit. So that didn't even pay back for the one of those bets getting losing one of those bets. Then we get ADF, and that did get us back one, because it was minus 100. So it literally got us back exactly one bet. So yeah, you get half a unit back, 1 unit total. So we got 2.38 units back on those two parlays, but we put in 3.5. So obviously we were down 1.12 units on there. So that sucked, but yeah, I mean, what can you do about that? Like I said, well, actually, there were a couple of things I could have done. But the fact that I put the bet in so early, that's what killed me this time, because I would not have put Turner in there, as I said, because I was going heavy on Hooker after that, after the weight miss. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate in terms of the parlays, but if you add that up, that leads us to 7.63. That is the final total of the week. So clearly, absolutely destroyed. Just came up short on the parlays. So could have been way better. It's all good. All good. We made huge profit. That is all I can ask for. And hopefully we can carry that into this week. I'm not sure, because this is a rough one, but we'll see. We shall see. As long as we just keep it in the green, that's all I want. I don't care if it's huge money. Just let's keep it in the green every week. That's all I want. So yeah, we'll take a short break, and then we will come back to talk about this week, UFC Vegas 77. And I know we're way behind, so hopefully I can get through these somewhat quick. I don't know, though, because there are a lot of fights on this card, so we'll see. But yeah, see ya right after this.
Allow me to introduce High Stick Vodka, a new way to celebrate victory. Gather around the glass with an award-winning, ultra-premium Canadian-made vodka. You probably won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka has a smooth, hard-hitting taste, or that it's developed in the birthplace of hockey. You won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka is a tribute to the game of hockey, or when I tell you it's distilled 4 times using Canada's purest mountain spring water to provide an authentic, remarkable flavor. But maybe you will listen when I say it comes in a f***ing hockey stick. Showcase your passion for hockey with our limited edition hand-blown hockey stick bottle. Whether you're celebrating victory or drinking to defeat, High Stick Vodka is better after every shot. Visit us at highstickvodka.com. It also comes in this regular bottle. Celebrate victory. Drink responsibly.
And we are back. So, UFC Vegas 77, Holm, Bueno Silva, the main event that nobody was asking for. The matchup that nobody was asking for. The matchup doesn't even make any sense. But we're going to move along. We're just going to roll right through it. So, we'll start with the prelims. And they did move the card around quite a bit in the last couple of days. So I'm assuming it's probably going to get moved around a little bit more. We actually had a cancellation today, of all things, because of, Walt Harris. Apparently was taking a supplement, wasn't approved by USADA. So USADA violation, had to pull out. Awful. Stupid. Terrible. Worst way for a fight to end. Wow. For a fight to get canceled, I should say. So that one dropped off. And I should actually have mentioned, too, the fact that JDM lost another last-minute opponent last week. Unreal how that turned out for him. That just was brutal. Absolutely brutal for him. I cannot believe that. But he's back this week, and he's got, I would say, even an easier matchup. So, I mean, he's fine. He's fine. and he will be the sniper pick this week. And he's actually minus, well, at least I found him at minus 600. I took it already because he's going nowhere but straight through the fucking roof after this. So minus 600, I will take it. Anyway, that's a little preview of what we're going to have for him, but he is back this week. Hopefully, no more bullshit for JDM. He's gone through enough. Let's just get him the fight, get the knockout, and just go back to Australia because this is ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, starts off with Ashley Evans Smith and Eileen Perez. Honestly, I don't even really, I don't know why she's still fighting, really. She's like 39, has only had 2 fights in the last 5 years, didn't look good in either one of them. I don't really think she has too much of a chance, Ashley Evans Smith. But I mean, I'm not really hugely impressed by Perez either, but she definitely looked better than Evan Smith, that's for sure. Oh yeah, what was her last fight again? I actually watched. Hold on here. I watched her last fight, and that was against Stephanie Egger. And I mean, she lasted until the end of the second round. She looked okay. Actually, she looked fairly good. It's just that Egger is kind of decent. Yeah, and then she actually had 2 more fights lined up since then, and they were both canceled. So that to me means she's clearly training hard, clearly in there trying to get much, much better. And she looked okay in that other fight. I mean, she definitely looked way more active than anything Ashley Evans Smith can get done. So I think that makes that makes Perez a very clear choice. Oh, and she's already over the minus 200 mark now. She was not yesterday when I took her. So I took her at minus 188. Clearly that was good now because she is now at minus 213 on Bet99 now. So to lower that, I mean, I think pretty clearly you got to go with Eileen Perez by decision. That brings the odds a little bit lower. And then you would balance that out with the under because they are favoring the over right now, minus 193, of course. It's women's MMA. There's not a whole lot of finishes, but you could see a finish here. I could definitely see that. So plus 150 for the under 2.5. Might as well balance it out with that. I like it. So that's the first one down. Then we've got Carl Deaton III, which I love that name. Seriously, I mean that Carl Deaton III. Amazing. I love names like that. And then I believe it's Alex Munoz or Munoz, maybe, because I don't know, because there's no accent on it and there's no H either. So that makes it a very difficult name. I think it is Munoz, but but he's white too. That's right. So actually, I'm not even sure. Munoz? I don't know. Anyway, Alex Munoz. I'm just gonna say Munoz because it just feels a lot more real. I don't think anybody's named Munoz. I don't know. Could be wrong. I'm just gonna go with Munoz. Carl Deaton III hasn't really looked that great. Let's go through his record here. Lost to Joe Selecki. Lost in PFL one time. And that's it. So not really looking good on that side. It looked really like a lower pace kind of guy. Didn't really show me a lot in that last fight. Whereas at least Munoz has had a couple of fights here. He had a split decision against Luis Pena. And I mean, really, the only reason they let Luis Pena go is the outside of the cage stuff that he got in trouble for, going to prison and stuff. UFC doesn't like that kind of thing. So they let him go because of that. And that was really the only reason. I mean, Luis Pena actually is decent other than that. So he had a split decision against him, unanimous decision loss to Hackprast. I think this is kind of their way of saying, like, listen, like, we know you're at least somewhat decent. We'll match you up with this guy. I mean, neither one of you is that successful, so let's get it going. I think he's clearly on a slightly higher level than Deaton, so I don't think this is really going to be that close. Minus 172. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of close, but it's still going to be like, okay, Munoz definitely won this fight. minus 172. I would take that now. I got it again, actually, a little bit early, minus 163. So I caught it a little bit earlier. I would get those bets in now. And if we're gonna be picking, like, kind of trying to lower those odds a little bit, I would probably be looking at Munoz decision. And it is favoring the over. So to balance that out, probably going to be doing the under at plus 180, because plus 180, I mean, they've been finished. They're also not necessarily that great. So anything can happen, you know, wouldn't be crazy. So we'll balance it out like that. But yeah, definitely Eileen Perez, and Alex Munoz there for the first two. And definitely the under for the ladies. I'm still not 100% sold on how the men's one is going to end. I'm still thinking it's probably going to be a decision, but you never know. You never know with these people that are very inconsistent. You never know. Then we've got Tyson Nam and what is his name? Azat Maxim, which is also a very cool name. Azat Maxim. Cool. And I gotta be honest, I mean, Maxim is undefeated, and that is why he is a huge favorite. And I mean huge. He's minus 400 right now. But I gotta say, I know Nam is older, but he's looked pretty great in his last few fights. Always live for a knockout. Like the striking really is the best part of this. The only thing that does have me definitely leaning towards Maxim is the grappling part of it. Nam, not necessarily known for the grappling, but when I watched Azat, doesn't really have great striking. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tyson Nam got a KO here. So I'm actually going to go with the under. I could even actually see him winning the decision, to be honest. If he lands a couple of good ones, or maybe the cardio kind of goes away for Maxim, I could see it. Or maybe the takedown defense holds up for Tyson Nam here. I don't know. It's plausible. So I'm actually going to put a little bit on the underdog, Nam, plus 300, which is a ridiculous line. But yeah, we are going to put a little bit on Nam there. Well, same as always, 1 unit. And then we will balance that out, I think, with the over. We're going to go with the over because he did last against Matt Schnell. And who else here? Let's see. We'll go into Nam's past here. So yeah, he was finished by Bruno Silva by getting brutally knocked out. But other than that, he's only ever been knocked out. He's never been submitted before. So to me, that tells me, and he's not going to get knocked out by Azat. That would be shocking, truly. So I think more than anything, I would say if there is a finish, it's going to be because of Nam. So I'm actually going to go with the over, which is actually at plus money right now. And I'm going to change my notes here just so I remember that for myself to do later. Yeah, the over-under is at 2.5, and they're favoring the under, minus 145. I mean, I get it, kind of. I mean, Maxim, a lot of submissions. Nam, a couple knockouts. So I see that. But Nam has never been submitted, and I don't think somebody outside of the UFC is going to do it. So I'll go with the over. I like it. Plus 114. I like it. Then we go on. Then we're moving on to Evan Elder and is it Genaro Valdez? I know it's Valdez. What's his first name here? Let's see. Yeah, Genaro Valdez. Another tough one. I gotta say, and this is why I'm a little bit worried because like these fights are actually pretty close, but the odds aren't. Those are weird ones where it's like, the underdog does have a tiny chance, but the favorite should win, but the odds aren't crazy. And like, it's just in this weird position, which is not good. Like those are the ones that leave you a little bit worried. But anyway, so Genaro Valdez lost his last two, lost to Natan Levy by decision, got knocked out by Matt Frivola, but I mean, we know now for sure that Matt Frivola is a real deal. After that Dober fight, yeah, he's the real deal for sure. Um, so that's not crazy. Evan Elder, but I mean, Natan Levy isn't really all that great. Evan Elder on the other side, I mean, the loss was to Nazim Sadikov, who we're also seeing. He's really good. Preston Parsons, not ideal, not amazing either. So this one is a little bit of a tough one, but I gotta say, I think Evan Elder's still pretty clearly the right choice. And he's at minus 300 right now, so we got to lower those odds quite a bit. And I would imagine that would be through a decision, probably. So yeah, we'll go with Evan Elder by decision to lower those from minus 300 to something like, it's probably going to be at minus 150 or minus 100, maybe even a plus money. Who knows? So I like that. I like that. And then we'll balance that out. Ooh, that's going to be a tough one to balance out because it is at over under 1.5 rounds right now. Can't really see this going. I mean, maybe the over 2.5. We put that down. Maybe we just go with the over 1.5. I don't mind that. Minus 150. That's not bad. That's not bad. Maybe I'll take that. I like that. We'll run with that for now. But yeah, he will be in the parlays, but he will be definitely lower on that scale for sure, because these are all pretty close up until now. But then it starts to go where we get some pretty obvious guys after this. And nobody's bigger, of course, than the next matchup, which is JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, and Hafez. I did watch some tape on Hafez, and it's exactly as you would imagine. Like, yeah, like they're definitely giving JDM this win for sure. Didn't really look great, and we know how good JDM is. I would imagine he's going to be going for the knockout here. If we go look at what Hafez has done recently, come on, Tapology. Here we go. Mostly decision losses. Yeah, all decision losses, actually. So he's never been finished, but he's also never gone against anybody even close to this good. Only has he has some grappling tournament wins. So to me, that already tells you he's probably decent at striking because he does have a knockout, but he's more of a grappler anyway, which is not a great combo when you're going against JDM. You're going to get knocked out. So that is what I'm going to pick. Like I said, he's at minus 600 when I saw it. I don't even know if, I'm not even sure that, I don't think they even have it here yet. No. Yeah, Bet99 doesn't even have him yet because, of course, this was on another site that I put the bet down already for that. So Bet99 does not have him. He was at minus 600 on the other site. So I would imagine he'll be pretty much the same over here, and it's only going to get higher. So it's probably going to be -8, -1,000, somewhere around there. So get it in while you can as soon as you see it, but that'll be the sniper pick. But to lower that, you got to go KO. You have to. You got to go KO. And then, of course, putting in the first round there as well, because as I'm sure, well, actually, I don't know if a lot of you realize this, he still has gotten all first round finishes in the UFC. That is 4 first round finishes in a row. So we'll go with that. We will go with that. Crazy enough, though, he actually did have a decision on the Contender Series. But other than that, yeah, he's gotten almost all first round finishes his entire career. Had a couple second rounders in there too. But yeah, crazy. So yeah, we will go first round, balance that out with the KO. I love it. Then we have Austin Lingo and Melky Zael. Right. Again, another kind of close one, but still fairly clear who should be the favorite in this one. I mean, Lingo has a few fights in the UFC, lost to Zalal, beat Kilburn and Saldana, meh. And then lost to Nate Landwehr, getting finished in the second round. And Costa, to be honest, I mean, like, he only has one fight in the UFC, and that was against Thiago Moises on very late notice. But I will say, he actually looked pretty good against Thiago Moises. And if you look that good against Thiago Moises, I think you can handle Austin Lingo. So just the experience of going against somebody that good, he looked really good in there. He looked really well rounded. I was impressed, to be honest. I think you can get the job done. I think you can get the job done. So I'm definitely going towards Costa on this. And if you go towards the odds, he is slightly above that minus 200 mark. So they're definitely favoring him. Minus 213 for Costa. So we got to lower that. We got to lower that. And that is, I put down the finish, because if you're finished by Landwehr, I mean, obviously Landwehr is a finisher too, but Costa has some finishes. He's pretty high pace. He's pretty intense. Not crazy for him to get a finish. And if you go towards the over under, they are favoring the over. So already makes sense to balance that out with the finish, because we will go, oh yeah, actually, oh shit. Maybe not. Well, because if Lingo wins, is he gonna get a finish? Probably not. Hmm. You know what? Yeah. I got to go with the over, I think. Because they're both pretty tough guys, too. So I actually think we'll probably be going with the over 2.5. And that is at minus 123 right now. So the odds are definitely still decent for sure. I mean, the under 2.5 is minus 105. So they're pretty much even. I kind of like the over a little bit more, so we'll go with that. And we'll balance that out, like I said, with Costa by finish. So if it's over, we cash in. If it's a finish for Costa, we cash in. I like it. And as I said, just like Elder, he will also be on the parlays, but he will be, again, just slightly lower on there. That's actually E and F. E is Costa, F is Elder. I like that too, because it was like, ooh, Felder. F Elder. Felder. Love Paul Felder. So I like that. It's a sign. And D for Dumont, of course. Double D for Dumont, if you know what I mean. Well, anyway, after that, we've got the ladies. That is Nunes, Estela Nunes, and is it Victoria Dudikova? Let me see here. Tapology, where are you at? Yes, Victoria. So Victoria Dudikova, Estela Nunes. I gotta say, I'm not completely convinced that Nunes is out of this. It's so weird. She's one of those people, kind of like oh my god, now I'm forgetting his name. The guy who oh yeah, Jalgas, right. He's kind of like she's kind of like Jalgas, because she seems so good, and she seems like she should be so good, and then she just loses every single time. So it's like I just don't know what to expect from her. So obviously I'm not going to go in that direction, but I will say I am taking the under specifically because of her. And I'm also not including Dudikova in the parlays because of her, because the striking from Estela Nunes is unreal. She is very good on the feet. So I am definitely not counting her out completely. So instead, what I will do is Dudikova by decision. That is what I will do. And then we will balance that out with the under 2.5, which is at plus money, which I think is actually kind of surprising because Nunes has some knockouts. Dudikova has some submissions. Nunes has been submitted before. I mean, it's not crazy, that's for sure. So I'm going with the under, plus 122. Love it. And like I said, yes, we will balance that out with Dudikova by decision, which should get us below that minus 200 mark, because right now she is at minus 217. So we will try and get that under the, well, I know that would be under the minus 200 mark for sure. So that's good. That is that one done as well. And very interesting, I will say. That is actually a very interesting female matchup that I am very interested in watching, more so than the main event, to be honest. uh, then we've got two pretty exciting guys, Melsik Bagdasaryan, Tucker Lutz. I'm actually a little surprised that this one is actually close. Minus 167 for Bagdasaryan, plus 133 for Lutz. I'm not really sure why. I mean, Lutz hasn't really looked that good. We'll take a quick gander at the Tapology, of course. Lost to Pineda, got knocked out. That's not good. Pat Sabatini, decision loss. That's not good. And then beat Kevin Aguilar in a decision. Okay. Then on the other side, you got Melsik, who is an absolute animal. And a shocking loss, to be honest, in against Kulabau. That was in Australia this year. I still can't believe he lost. And I watched the fight again and I was like, wow, he really was winning this fight pretty easily before that. And then out of nowhere, Kulabau, like literally out of nowhere, I forget how it ended up happening, but I think he ended up rocking Melsik just for like a split to second and then jumped on his back, and Melsik had no idea what was happening. So he jumped on his back and never let go. He sunk in like right under the chin as they were still standing up, fell to the ground. Kulabau then taps him out. Like he literally, Melsik has no way of getting out of it. Like it's already underneath the chin. He's already on the ground, has no idea what happened, and was forced to tap. I mean, it was out of nowhere, like truly out of nowhere, because Melsik was clearly winning the fight before that. And it's because of that he was very clearly winning before that, even with a bunch of outside the cage stuff too. You can watch the fight again if you want to know what I'm talking about. He doesn't like flying. So that was a whole ordeal going to Australia. It was also last minute. So lots of negative things going towards Melsik in that last fight, and he was still winning before that. As for Lutz, again, haven't really been impressed at all. So I think there's a pretty clear choice in Melsik, which is fantastic because he's minus 167. So get the bets in now because I have a feeling that's going to be going up. And he will also be in the parlays because very convinced that he should win this pretty easily. And in terms of the over under, it is at over under 2.5, and they're favoring the over. I have to imagine I'm going with the under because Melsik is a finisher. Lutz just got knocked out by somebody much older and much worse. So makes sense to me. We're going with Melsik and we're going to go with the under plus 110. And if you want to lower that even further, we'll go with Melsik finish possibly, but I mean minus 167, that's not awful as it is. Oh, that's right. I was actually even going with first round. Well, clearly I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll go under 1.5. That might be the better idea. And that might be the play here. We'll type that in. Under 1.5. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing here. Whoops. Okay, so I switched that to Melsik and under 1.5. So hopefully it stays at minus 167. Anyway, so that's looking fantastic. Love that. And of course, he's going to be in the parlays later anyway. Then we've got our old buddy McKinney, Terrence McKinney, T-Rex, which I still can't believe that I actually didn't catch on to what that actually meant when I first heard that. I did not know that T-Rex meant like, T-Rex, T-Rex until his last fight. No joke, because it's not spelt like T-Rex. It's like T-Rex, as in like Rex, like WRECKS. So to be honest, embarrassed that I didn't catch on to that way earlier. Anyway, good old buddy McKinney and Nazem Sadikov, who we just talked about, who is very, very good. But you know what? This is one of those situations where they're both pretty evenly matched. I could see either one of these guys winning. So we'll go with the underdog. And McKinney is the underdog, plus 120. Plus, Nazem was dropped. I mean, he does get hit. I don't know if you really can get hit by McKinney like that. I think you're going to get knocked out if you do that. Like, he is too fast, too powerful, and relentless to get hit like that. If you get hit like that, you're finished. Like, he will finish you. So I don't think it's that crazy. Plus 120, we'll go with McKinney. And the over under is at 1.5 rounds. Makes sense because they're both ridiculously explosive. But that being said, at minus 184, I am not going for an under 1.5. So plus 142, over 1.5. Maybe they take it slightly slower. We'll go with that. I like it. Plus 142. Don't mind it at all. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I said is maybe I could balance it out by doing Nazem KO. So I could do Nazem KO and McKinney. So they're both plus money. Not a bad idea. So I might be toying around with that. I still haven't quite decided what I am going to do there. So I will type that in as maybe. But definitely putting McKinney in there. Putting some money on McKinney all day. Then we've got Otman Zaitar and Francisco Prado. This one is also pretty much dead even, so I had to go with the underdog as well. Plus, I don't think we've really seen what a Zaitar is capable of at all, because he went from getting a huge KO to taking a couple years off to then getting knocked out in like 20 seconds by Frivola out of nowhere. Literally didn't even really throw a strike before that. So just didn't get into it. He just didn't get into the fight. So it's kind of tough to say how a Zaitar is going to look, but he's got a lot of potential. I mean, he looks really good when he's fighting, and that was a couple of years ago. So I don't know. I got to give him the benefit of the doubt because he did look pretty good before that. And it was just a bad performance. I mean, it's just a rough one, really. You can't even say it was bad. It was just like he never even got started. And then as for Prado, I actually don't really remember what Prado was like. Let me see here. I'll remember when I get the fight here. Oh yeah, Jamie Malarkey. Yeah, Jamie Malarkey essentially outpaced him. He's not really that insanely good, so I'm not really impressed by Prado. A Zaitar should be able to keep a higher pace and end up winning that way. So I feel good about it. And he's the underdog. So we'll put money on minus 105 Otman Zaitar on this one. The over under, oh my goodness, that's crazy. The over under is set at 1.5, and only because of those fights with the Zaitar, which, to be honest, I think were kind of out of character for him in both cases. So I'm definitely taking the over 1.5, especially since Prado is pretty tough. I mean, he lasted 3 rounds with Malarkey in Australia. So I'm going over 1.5, which is plus 130 right now. Love the odds on this. Love that. I'm actually going to type that in here. Oh, I already did type it in. Over 1.5. Love it. Love that one. We just really got to go through here because it's like, we're getting later here. I'm getting hungry. I think my food is here now. So we've got to hurry up. So that means Norma Dumont, Chelsea Chandler. I had to think of her first name. Chelsea Chandler. I don't even really know why this fight is being made, truly. I mean, Dumont is pretty clearly the number one contender. I mean, like, we don't even have rankings at 145. This is a 145-pound fight. If there was going to be a belt, just give it to Dumont. She's clearly the best one there. There's nobody else. She's beaten literally every single contender at 145. If there is a belt, give it to her now. Don't even, like, what are we doing? And I find it insane that somebody with one UFC fight is fighting her, Chelsea Chandler. It makes no sense. I mean, Dumont is clearly way better. She's clearly going to win that fight. There is no question about it. And I actually cannot believe here The odds are at minus 140. I feel like they just don't understand because they hear, oh, it's women's featherweight. You know, like it's women's featherweight. Anybody can win. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, no. Like, Norma Dumont just beat Carol Hosa, beat Danielle Wolf, lost to Macy Chasson in a split, and she's a top contender as well. Beat Aspen Ladd, beat Felicia Spencer in a split. I mean, like, where do you see a weakness in there? Like, I mean, and she's looked great while doing it. Very good. And then Chelsea Chandler beats Julia Stoliarenko. Stoliarenko. Like, okay, she beat somebody that shouldn't be in the UFC in the first round, which, by the way, if you rewatch the fight, Stoliarenko was giving her these positions. She was pulling guard and basically letting her fall on top of her multiple times. Like, she looked like absolute shit. Chandler just not happened to, she just took the better position each time because Stoliarenko gave it to her. That's it. Like, Chandler didn't even really have to do a whole lot. She just took advantage of what Stoliarenko was doing every single time. It was just like bad. It was just bad from Stoliarenko. And now you're putting her up against the only solid contender in that division in Norma Dumont. Like, come on. That's crazy that's crazy that's even a I should actually put her higher up on my I think I will actually. I'll put ooh. Nah, I like Bagdasarian at C. Dumont can stay at D. But a double D. Dumont at D. We'll keep that, especially for the sake of that. But yeah, I just can't see it. Minus 140 she's at. That's an absolute steal. I mean, again, you're talking about essentially a number one contender. The only reason she's not called that, not named a number one contender, is because there's no real division. Like, there's no real standings in that division. So they can't say that, but she is. That's the caliber that she's at, going against somebody who's brand new. I mean, it's stupid. Minus 140, Dumont all day. Over under is at over 2.5, as you would imagine. Minus 250 for over. We got to go under. I mean, come on. Chandler had the finish. Dumont has had finishes before, I think. Hasn't she? Oh, I hear that my dinner's definitely here now. Yeah, she has been finished by Megan Anderson. Chandler has lost in a decision. It just makes sense to go for the under. I mean, this is a mismatch for sure, so I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, Dumont, easy. And under makes sense. Then we go to Duraev and Jun-Young Park. I'm actually pretty shocked that this is the betting line now that I'm seeing it, because I didn't even know what they were at here. I got to go with Duraev. I mean, they're pretty close. It seems like a 50-50 fight already, which means go for the underdog anyway. But I got to say, the underdog looks better in this case. I really do think Duraev is definitely better. I mean, listen to this. Like, split decision loss to Chidi and Njokuani, who we know pretty fucking dangerous. He's also huge. So the fact that he nullified the striking and pushed the grappling against somebody like that is very impressive. And the one loss in the UFC came to Joaquin Buckley because of the striking, the insane, powerful striking of Joaquin Buckley. And has, like I said, huge win streak before that. Never lost in the UFC except for that one fight. As for Jun-Young Park, he doesn't really have huge power. I mean, he beat Dennis Tululin and Joseph Holmes with grappling. That was it. I mean, he kind of just out-grappled them, really. He wasn't really even doing anything crazy. They didn't look that good. I watched them yesterday. He didn't really look like anything that crazy. Duraev is he's a much higher pace, more dangerous guy. And then, yeah, he beat Eric Anders by split decision, beat Nchukwi by majority decision. So he's not winning these fights by crazy margins, Jun Young Park, and then got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez. And I think Duraev could knock him out. I think it's plausible. Actually, maybe not. He's really not much of a striker, but he definitely could get the decision. I was definitely leaning towards decision for Duraev. So Duraev, no brainer, plus 128. Yeah, I mean it's could go either way. Go with the underdog plus 128. He even looks better. Got to go with him. The over under is at minus 134 for over 2.5. Under 2.5 plus 105. That's a tough one, but I'll probably go for over just because they're both ridiculously tough. They are so tough. So I'm actually going to go with the over 2.5, which is a plus one. I mean minus 134. Love that. We will go with that. Then we come to the main event, and do I even really need to say anything? Like, I mean, I honestly don't even know why this fight is happening. Bueno Silva has never once really had a great win, and Holly Holm is clearly the number one contender over and over and over and over again. I just don't understand what like, and why is this even close in the odds? I truly don't understand. I understand nothing about this. The win for Bueno Silva. She beat Lena Landsberg by knee bar in the second round last fight. Like, okay, we know that Landsberg is not very good. So that's nothing really. And again, second round, I don't know. She didn't really, and I watched that one too. She was not very high pace. Who is high pace? Holm. Holm is the highest paced female in the whole division. I had to think about that. But yeah, I can't think of anybody who's higher pace. She puts on the highest pace of grappling, well, of striking for sure, and follows it up with grappling, especially along the fence. There's no way that Silva can keep up with the pace on the feet. And Holm is much larger. So I would be shocked actually if Silva controlled in the clinch either. Like she will probably maybe get some work done on the ground, but honestly, Holm is just up way ahead already in every single one of these categories. And then, like I said, then beat Stephanie Egger. Like, okay, we know she's also not that great. And again, it was kind of more of a surprise armbar. It was a minute in. Then beat Wu Yanan in a decision. Who cares? Then lost to Manal Fiorot, and then a majority draw to Montana De La Rosa. I mean, there's no impressive win in there whatsoever. And then on Holly Holm's side, it's like, okay, so the only times you've lost in the last decade, really, Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg, Jermaine Durandamy, Misha Tate. And then Ketlin Vieira by split decision, and we all know that decision was absolute shit. That was absolute garbage. She should have won that one. So that was already stupid. And Ketlin Vieira, by the way, way better than Mayra Bueno Silva. So I don't see any possibility. I just don't get it. I do not see how Bueno Silva wins this one. So minus 180, that's what it's at right now for Holly Holm. You got to put money on that. You got to put money on Holly Holm for that. That is crazy. The absolute disrespect for Holly Holm that they're having right now is unreal. So had to put money on that. I got her at minus 175. I was happy about that. She's going to be going way higher, probably minus 200, 220, 250, maybe even. I'm just shocked that the betting line is that close. Truly, I'm shocked. And in terms of the over under, it is at over under 4.5, of course. Minus 200 is the over. I was going to take that, but minus 200, I don't know. Like, should we just go for the under 4.5? I mean, it's 5 rounds. It's a mismatch. We'll just go for the under 4.5. We'll do that. Why not? So yeah, we'll go over under 4.5. And I do have some prop bets ready that I will probably take, but I don't know what they're at or anything like that. I don't know. But I would imagine truly, I mean, obviously, Holly Holm most strikes. I will do that guaranteed. There is no fucking way in hell that Bueno Silva is going to get more strikes than Holly Holm. There is 0% chance of that happening. But I also think, though, that Holly Holm will get the most takedowns. And I'll tell you why. Because she wants to be on top and she's bigger. So if she's bigger, she wants the position. I could see her getting more takedowns. I really can. So I'm also going to put Holly Holm most takedowns. That's what I'm going to do. Maybe crazy, but I'm doing it. And that is it. That is it for the whole card. I will quickly go through the parlays and then I'll go downstairs and eat because I'm starving. So I basically told you the order already anyway, but as normal, this is what we normally do is A through F. Maybe that was a mistake last week that I did not do that. But it just looked like there were a lot of really one-sided ones. And I mean, there were a lot that were in the minus 1,000, minus 500 range. Like it was crazy. So had to get a little more creative, I think. But we paid for it anyway. We lost. So this time we're back to normal, back to our regular strategy and the one that usually works for us. JDM is A. I think that's pretty obvious. B, I've got home. I'm shocked. I like truly, I don't know why this is even considered to be a close matchup. C, I put Melsick. I'm sticking with that. I almost switched him from C to D and with Dumont because Dumont is D. I almost switched that. So if the ABC doesn't cash in because Melsick loses and Dumont wins, I'm going to cry. I'm going to be very upset if that happens. But hopefully they all cash in so it won't matter anyway. But that's what we're going with. So ABC, that means, oh yeah, no, and then we'll go through that again. D, Dumont. E, I ended up with Melchizael Costa. F is Elder for Felder. Yeah. So that's A through F, and we'll go through the parlays now. Just our standard, the exact same as always. ABC is our triple play. That's a unit. So that will be JDM, Holm, Melsick, Bagdasarian. That is the ABC parlay. Then you got ADF. That is JDM, Dumont, and Elder. Then you got BCE. That is Holm, Bagdasarian, and Costa. Then you got ABDF. That is JDM, Dumont, Holm, and Elder. And then you got ACDE. That is the Grand Slam, which we've cashed in twice, I believe, already. Two or three times already. That is JDM, Bagdasarian, Dumont, and Costa. And then, of course, we've got our all parlay. So that is all 6 of them. And that's it. That is it for us. So, yeah, that's that card. UFC Vegas 77. Oh, that's right. London next week. London calling. London next week. Cannot wait for that. That's going to be so much better than this card. I cannot wait. And we get to see Tommy Aspinall back again. Holy shit. Gonna just that. I'm already straight up telling you that's my sniper pick. Aspinall is my sniper pick because there's no way in hell that he's losing to Tybura when, to be honest, I actually think Aspinall could have easily been the champ already, for real. Like, after Jones is gone, I would imagine what they're going to do for real. Prediction here. I do think that what they're going to do for the belt, because John Jones is probably going to retire. Stipe is definitely retiring. That just leaves Sergey Pavlovich, Tommy Aspinall. There's your title fight. That's it. That's going to be your title fight. I can pretty much guarantee you that is what's going to happen. And I'm okay with that. That's going to be a crazy fight. I can't wait to watch it. I guarantee you that matchup is going to happen eventually, but I would actually be a little surprised if that wasn't the title shot already. So yeah, anyway. Can't wait for that. That's gonna be my sniper pick. We're gonna have a good time. So hopefully the bets work out this time. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the more worrisome cards, I will say. It's gonna be tough, but we're going for it. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get to the other sports, Area 51 has got you covered. All my socials are below: Instagram, Twitter, all that. Um, yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.